I posted an Instagram story, I think 2 weeks ago, and I shared like a lot of really good flight deals, and people really liked it. So I thought, okay, let's immortalize this video and put it on YouTube. I'm gonna show you how you can find really cheap flight deals and how you can basically like cut your costs in half, in thirds. You're gonna save a lot of money, and yeah, I'm just really excited. I'm just really excited about this because I feel like people think flights have to be so expensive, but really and truly they cost money, but they don't have to be thousands and thousands of dollars. I've never paid $1,000 for a flight. So I'll have people message me and they'll be like, oh yeah, I'm looking for flights and I can only find flights for $1,500. And I'm like, no, sweetie, no. I've traveled to over 10 countries in the past 5 months, spending less than $1,000 on flights.
So I've been to Mexico, Guatemala, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, Peru, Greece, Italy, Morocco, Paris,
and like people will probably assume that I've spent thousands and thousands of dollars, but that has not been the case at all. So my 2 biggest tips are going to be to search often and be flexible with your dates. So when I say search often, if you think that you're gonna be going on a trip in the next, like let's say 4 months or the next 6 months or maybe the next year, start looking now. Like you're gonna wanna search as often as possible, because if you don't know how much something costs, then it's going to be easy for you to overpay. Let's say I never have looked at flights before, but I have this assumption in my mind that, oh, a flight to Europe is going to be $1,500. So I'm not even going to bother looking because I'm going to think I can afford that. And also, if I do decide to go to Europe, I am going to have to, once I like go and I pay for my flight, I'm going to have overpaid, because you can, of course, you can pay that much for flights, depending on when you buy them. It can be that expensive, but you do not have to pay that much for a flight to Europe. If you have an idea of how much something costs, then you're less likely to overpay. And you also know when you're getting a really good deal, because what if you stumble upon a really good flight deal, a flight to Europe that's $400, and then you say, oh wow, like I was expecting to pay $1,500 or $1,000 alone for the flight, but if I can swing this, then I can pay this for my whole vacation. And so search often, and also be flexible. So the less flexible you are with your dates, the more expensive the flights are probably going to be. You might get lucky, but more likely than not, if you have very specific dates, then you don't, like, there's no room for you to there's no wiggle room. And so like if I need to go to my brother's graduation on November 15th, 2018, and I need to fly out at 7 a.m. and I need to be back on November 18th and I need to be back by 5 p.m., then that locks me into specific prices and specific flights. But so for those kind of things, unfortunately you can't avoid that. But like let's say you're planning a vacation but you don't have any specific dates, you are open to any dates, and let's say you're looking and maybe you find you wanted to go maybe the first week of November. There was no specific reason that you needed to go that time. It was just maybe what you had in mind. But then you find really good flight prices at the end of November. And so then you can say, okay, well, I wanted to go the first week of November, but because I'm saving $500 on flights, then I'm going to go ahead and like forget the first week of November. And that will help you save so much money if you're flexible with dates, and also if you're flexible with locations. So for me, I travel wherever I can afford. No, I am open in terms of where I can go and which dates. So if I find a cheap flight to Kalamazoo, let's go. You know what I mean? I mean, and not literally, but if I find really good flight prices somewhere, I'm not going to outrule this place, because you never know. I think that Sometimes we get caught up in like, oh, I have like this bucket list, but honestly, like any travelers travel. I feel like you can have those long-term goals of like, oh, eventually I would like to go here. But if you want to start traveling sooner, then open up your mind to different places. Maybe start researching different places that you haven't heard of, and that will kind of open up what prices are available to you. Does that make sense? I hope this all makes sense. But so those are my biggest 2 tips. Like, those are going to be the best tips. And those are going to save you the most money. So next is where you search. So of course you go and search for flights these days. So I search for my own flights, and I don't pay a travel agent or anything like that, or a company. I buy my own flights. So there are 2 search engines that I use most often. One is Google Flights, and the other is Skyscanner, which I've just recently started using. So Google Flights is iconic, basically. It's incredible. You're going to want to, pull up Google Flights right now, because you're gonna love it. If you haven't heard of it, you're gonna love it. So it's not just Google, you're not Googling flights. Google has a search engine for flights. So it's www.google.com/flights. And you're going to go there, and there are so many things that the search engine can do. It's also super user friendly. So you are going to enter in, some dates. So maybe enter in this date to this date, and then you're going to enter in, you don't even have to enter in a destination. That's the great thing about this application, is that you don't have to enter in a destination at all. So if you have location settings on, it's probably already has your city marked into the search engine. So, but then it's going to be blank in the destination. And so if you scroll down, it's going to give you an idea of just random locations that you can visit on specific dates, and it's going to tell you what you can do in those locations. So this is going to be great if you don't know where you want to go. And like I said, if you have your options open, you maybe just want to go somewhere that you haven't been before, but you're not sure where you want to go. So this is going to be a great introduction, and it's going to tell you some different locations that you can visit, and it's going to be super helpful in regards to that. So it's going to tell you, oh, in this place is known for beaches, this place is known for museums, and so you can kind of get an idea, and then from there you can go on and do additional research and see if that place would interest you. And so from there you're going to so that's really cool. And then if you go in and you do have a specific location that you like to see where you're flying from, so you're going to enter that into the destination box, and then you'll enter in your dates, and it's going to pull up all of the different airlines. It's going to pull up and you can filter it from lowest price to highest price, and so I would do, of course, lowest price, and it's going to show up like United Airlines is going to pull up, American Airlines is going to pull up. Southwest, okay, I'll note this. Southwest is the only one that doesn't pull up. So you're going to have to go to the Southwest and a few other budget airlines. So you're going to have to go to the Southwest website to compare. But for every other airline, it should pull all of them up, and it's going to rank them from the lowest price to the highest price. And it's going to show you different details, different information about the flights, like stopover time, how long the flight is, etc., etc. And so that's pretty basic. That's across the board. You're gonna find that on all search engines. But the best thing about this is that if you click on the calendar and you click on specific dates, it's going to, don't click on any dates. If you click on the calendar, it's going to show you your dates that you've chosen, but in green, the application is going to highlight all of the different, it's going to show you every single date all through the next year. You can go forward and look at every single price date. If you leave on this date and leave on another date, it's going to show you all those prices. So you can see that, okay, well, if I go in January, it's going to be more expensive than if I was going in November, or March. Let's do March. Or if I leave a day later, I'm going to save this much money. So you're able to have a full view of what the prices are going forward throughout the year, and that will just tell you, that'll also kind of give you an idea if you're overpaying or underpaying. So if you see that in this month prices are really expensive, but then you move 3 months forward and the prices are cut in half, because you will notice that, then that, like, now you'll know if you're overpaying or underpaying, and you'll know if you can get a good deal. So that's going to be the best feature that I think the app has, is that you have this full calendar view of every single day and every single price on every single day. So that's really cool. And then also, if you click on the map on the side, you can see, like, let's say you enter in specific dates. Let's say I enter from Houston to Colombia, and it's gonna show you on the map. Like, it's just gonna pull up a map, and it's gonna show you like what that looks like. But it's also gonna show you the prices of all of the other nearby places anywhere else on the map for those same exact dates. So let's say you wanted to go to Colombia, but then you're looking and you actually find out that a flight to Brazil is going to be $300 cheaper. Well, maybe you weren't planning on going to Brazil, but now it's like, well, if I'm going to save money and I could use that money towards other aspects of my travel, maybe hotels or activities, then why not? Brazil is really cool too. Maybe I wanted to go to Colombia, but hey, maybe I'll really like Brazil. Maybe I'll love Brazil. You just never know. And so this goes in with the being open and being flexible. You can see what other options are available all over the world. And so that's another really great feature. Another great feature is that you can search price alerts. You can set price alerts. So let's say you have a trip you want to go to in a year, and you enter in the dates, you can set price alerts, and so Google Flights is going to email you anytime those prices drop. So that is going to be, yeah, that's amazing too. Okay, and so another awesome feature on Google Flights is the option to go incognito. So whenever you search flights often and repetitively, search engines somehow are tracking that, and they're able, because through cookies, internet cookies, because they're tracking that you're searching that flight often, so the price sometimes jumps up. So to avoid that, what you can do is simply clear your cache and cookies, but the best thing to do ultimately would be to go incognito. We'll click on the right, in the right hand corner. Instead of clicking open up a new tab, you're going to select open up new incognito window, and basically that allows you to search without your cookies being tracked, without your history being logged. And so when I was booking flights to Europe last year, I found flights around $400, and I was searching them constantly because I didn't know if I was going to buy them. I was going to buy them, but I was indecisive about it, and I just wanted to, like, I don't know. I was waiting, and so I kept on searching, and eventually I looked and the prices were over $1,000, and I was just like, crap, I missed out on this. This really sucks. So I guess I can't go. And then I was like, oh wait, let me search incognito. And I went, and they're the same price that they were when I originally searched. So if you are searching something often, and in that same day you notice that the price all of a sudden changes, then, or like increases or triples or doubles, then open up an incognito window and see if that helps. Or you can clear your cache and cookies if you're on like Safari or another browser. And so yeah, so that is going to be a really good tip that a lot of people don't know about. Next, you're going to want to search around. So search around and compare. So after you search on Google Flights, I would recommend searching on some other sites as well. Some other good options are Skyscanner and Momondo. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but I'll show it on the screen. So search around, pull up a few different search engines. So if I find a flight on Google Flights through United Airlines and I see this price, what I'm going to do is pull up the united.com website, search on there, because sometimes it is cheaper if you go directly through the airline website. And then I'm also going to pull up Skyscanner probably and search on there. And so there are a variety of flight search engines that you can find. Some are less user-friendly, some are more user-friendly. I think Google Flights is the most user-friendly, but that's just my opinion. I know people who use CheapOair. I know people who use cheapflights.com. They've found really good prices. So you're going to want to search around. So a great feature on Skyscanner is that you can simply like type in everywhere. Like you can put in your departure city, and then you can enter in, there's an option to choose everywhere, and it's going to pull up the cheapest flights around the world. If you don't know when you want to go, you can type in cheapest months, and it's going to pull up the cheapest months to fly to this destination. Let's say you want to fly into a specific country, like I said, but you're open to the city. Pull up and just enter in the country. You don't even have to specify a city, and it's going to pull up the cheapest flights throughout the country if you fly into specific cities. So that feature, gold. You know, you're going to click from there, and it's going to take you to the other website where you would book. So especially because now that a lot of airlines are giving kind of bare bones options, which means no frills. You can pay for flights that are like don't include baggage, or just a variety of things that don't include the extras that come on most flights. Then they will have options that aren't shown on those huge search engines like Google Flights or Skyscanner. You just have to be aware that when you're flying specific airlines like budget airlines, that you're not getting the additional, you're not going to get the additional things that you would get on one of the bigger airlines that come with, you know, snacks and everything like that. Look at neighboring airports and see how much cheaper it would be for you to fly into a specific airport, or the same goes for the destination. So if you want to go to Italy and maybe you want to fly into Milan, check out Rome too. Check out Venice. Check out some other cities. So specific hubs, larger hubs, offer cheaper flights than smaller hubs, which sometimes it's worth it if you live in a small town or a small city to drive maybe 45 minutes or an hour to the place that has the city that has the larger airport, because the flight difference is going to be that much. There might be a huge difference in flight prices, and like all it takes is a train ride or a bus ride, or even renting a car to get there, and you could still be saving so much money. You know, you're going to click from there, and it's going to take you to the other website where you would book. So I would only recommend this if you know for sure that you're able to pay it off. I don't want to promote credit cards because credit card debt is the worst. Debt is the worst. And in the long term, it'll prevent you from being able to travel. But through credit card programs, you can get a lot of benefits if you are able to pay that off. If you already have the cash and you can afford it, then you can really take advantage of the benefits of some credit cards. So I'm not going to go into the details of all of them. I'll just talk about one that's really popular and it is known to be the best, and that's going to be the Chase Sapphire Reserve credit card. There's tons of benefits. When you sign up, you automatically get 50,000 points. I think when I signed up, it was 100,000 points. That's like over $1,000 in free flights. You get like a yearly $300 travel credit. You get free lounge access to lounges in airports around the world. You get global entry for free, which means that when you're coming back in the country through customs, you're going to have an expedited, like you're going to be expedited, so you won't have to wait in line. Usually you might wait there for like 30 minutes to an hour. It just depends. But you won't have to wait in line, and you would also be expedited through security. So with this credit card, this year alone, I've flown free, I think 3 or 4 times. And now you do, so like it's already, like it's paid itself off. I got global entry. It does help speed up the process. Before, I used to arrive at the airport at the last minute because that's just who I am as a person. But now, like, I show up early because I'm like, wait, like I have a lounge, like I'll have free food. I don't have to get food before I go to the airport, and I don't have to pay crazy amounts of money for like airport prices for food. And so there are just going to be a variety of perks included. Also, you get free travel insurance with a credit card, and you have no foreign transaction fees. So those are a ton of benefits that are going to be included. In the long term, you're actually saving money. You will pay a yearly fee for most of these credit cards. Like I said, they're a variety, but you have to weigh the benefits and see if it pays off. There's an expert that can help you out with answering these questions, and he has a website, and his name is The Points Guy. So my last tip is to go on to Twitter, pull up your Twitter right now, and follow Scott's Cheap Flights, The Flight Deal, Airfare Watchdog, and follow these accounts on Twitter because they tweet out daily, hourly, by the minute. They tweet out flight deals and flight glitches that they find. And so as you scroll through, you can literally, they'll tweet out like from Chicago, just random flight deals. That's how I got my $400 flights to Paris twice. Yeah, they tweet out flight deals very, very, very often. And so you're gonna want to follow them. There are so many people I know that have booked flights by following them. I think they also have websites, but just Twitter is easier. I don't really go to the websites, but you can sign up for their websites or subscribe to their newsletters as well. And then travel overland. So if you have a long period of time off and you want to travel, a good thing would be to buy one flight ticket to one place. And then if you travel to a place like Central America where the countries are very close, you don't have to spend a lot of money on flights. When I traveled to Central America, I paid $100 for a flight to Mexico, but I still was able to travel to 5 countries because once I got into the countries, I took buses from country to country. So I didn't even have to buy flights from country to country. I would take the bus. There are usually like fancier buses and then there are local buses. So you can do whatever works best for you. And transportation is usually really cheap in countries like that, or really affordable by Western standards in countries like that. So traveling overland is also a great way to save money. When I traveled in Europe, I did the same thing as well. There are a couple times that I bought flights on Ryanair, but on my most recent trip, I traveled from country to country by bus. And typically from country to country, I paid less than 20 euros. So if you're wondering how you can travel to multiple countries without paying a lot on flights, especially in one period of time, then I would say buy one flight there and then kind of hop around. Also, another note, prices usually increase in the summer because everyone's traveling in the summer. So sometimes you'll be able to find prices that are lower during low season of travel, and then high season, they're going to be a little bit more expensive. But it just depends. I flew to Paris in July, and that's the summer. And when I bought the ticket, because I found it through that deal that was tweeted out, like I said, I paid $400. So you really have to search around and search often. Also search often because flight prices change daily. So I might search today and a flight might be $800, but I might search tomorrow and it might be $400. They just randomly change. There's no system to it. There's no for sure way to know when the best time is. And I use different resources to see when deals are out. I would say start searching. If you have a trip coming up, start searching now. It's buying a flight out a year ahead. I've seen that's way too far ahead. That's way too far ahead of time because the prices could drop. I would say start looking maybe around 6 months, and try to purchase before a month. If the closer you purchase, the more expensive the flight price is going to be. If you wait until like a week before, 2 weeks before, 3 weeks before, even a month before sometimes, the prices would be much more expensive than if you would have just looked like 2 months before or even 3 months before. So you're definitely going to want to start searching ahead of time. Even if you don't buy ahead of time, start searching ahead of time. I think that's it. This is a really long video, so hopefully it was informational. I think that's it. And like I said, I'm always around giving travel tips. My Instagram, telling personal stories. I go more into depth with my travels, personal stories, things I've learned, people I've met, etc. So on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm everywhere. So if you are wanting more tips, if you have a trip coming up or you're wanting to just travel, stick around and hopefully you find what you need. So yeah, thanks for watching. And if you like this video and you found it helpful and you know someone else that might find it helpful, feel free to share it. And yeah, thanks so much for watching and see you around.